It's a good day at Wilson Audio Labs. We ran across a $60 subwoofer amplifier on Amazon that I know you guys are curious about because I sure was. And it turns out the DIY audio guy, Justin, also was because he picked one of these up at the same time I did. Once we found out that we both had the amp, we said, wow, this is a great time to do a collaboration. Let's do a collaboration. So I'll show some of Justin's results in this video and also have a link to his video in the description below. The Leiges Audio LE500.1D, according to the description, does 600 watts at 2 ohms, 900 watts at 1 ohm, RMS. What? For 500D? Also 2200 watts max at 1 ohm? Has a MOSFET power supply. Aluminum. Yeah, it's made out of aluminum. Has a bass boost, line level inputs. MOSFET Class AB. It is not Class AB. This is Class D. 1 ohm stable. Strapping capable. Nope. Variable low pass filter. Yep. Check the website for Leiges Audio. They just had accessories, not any amplifiers. Anyway, let's get to the unboxing of this amplifier and see what it's all about. What's going on, guys? Here we have today's amp, the Leiges Audio TG-500.1D monoblock, 2200 watts, made in China. Leiges Audio. Oh yeah, and ratings. Max power up here, 700 watts at 4, 1400 at 2, 2200 at 1, RMS power 350 at 4, 600 at 2, and 900 at 1. At the time of the video, this amp cost $60 on Amazon. Let's open it up and see what's inside. As we look at the package here, there are more fails. It says the frequency response is 32 hertz to 30 kilohertz. Oh gosh. Input level 13.8 to 14.4 volts. Somebody really did not check this out. Bass boost 0 to 18 dB at 45 hertz. What is this, a punch EQ? Who's the big dummy now? First off, we have the manual for the TG-500.1D. See if we have anything of interest. It does list the same specifications that the box does. RMS power on the right, max power on the left. So in the box it includes screws and some extra fuses. Those are 25 amp. Phone cord for your grandma's old rotary phone. World's worst bass knob, volume 2. At least it does have a phone cord attachment, but it is plasticky. The potentiometer really is not horrible, but it's very small. It does have a power LED. For the price of the amp, I guess we can't complain too much. And we have the high level adapter. Oh man, check that out. And here we have the Leiges Audio. That looks like it was like glued on. TG-500.1D, it says 500 watts here. This end of the amp, we have the high level input, low level RCAs, level adjustment for input, phase. This actually has a phase adjustment. That's unusual for a cheap amp. Remote connection, bass 0 to 12 dB, subsonic 15 hertz to 50, low pass 250 down to 50 hertz. On the opposite side, this is a monoblock amplifier, so they give you 2 different outputs, which is nice, even on a cheap amp. Power Protect LEDs, 25 amp fuses, screw down terminals. We may be able to squeeze 4 gauge in there for lucky. Right off the bat, based on the weight, I don't think this is going to do much power. As far as the footprint, aka dimensions, we have 8.2 inches on the long side, 7 inches on the wide side, 2 inches for the height. Now, for the dyno settings, we have tuned this 9 dB overlap using DD1 Plus on the dyno, set the subsonic to minimum, low pass filter to the highest position, bass boost set to minimum. Let's fire it up and see how it performs on the dyno. Now let's fire up the good old SMD, Demore Engineering Amplifier Dyno, to do our RMS power output testing of this amplifier. Before we do that, make sure you check the video description for links to Wilson Audio merch. Smash me a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this content. More like it coming all the time. Now let's talk about the Dyno Tests. There's 3 different tests: certified, uncertified, and dynamic. Certified test takes us up to 1% THD, uncertified takes us up to the clipping point, and dynamic is a dynamic tone mimicking IHF 202 standard. Okay, 4 ohms test first, rated 350 watts RMS. Let's see how that Chinese conversion to English works out. Certified run first, 1% THD, plenty of voltage, 216 watts. Yeah, that's not even close to 350. Let's try the uncertified test and see up to clipping if it gets any better. What are your thoughts? I'm thinking it's not going to be much better. 224 watts at 14.62. Rated 350. Hashtag RMS. Air quotes RMS. However you want to say that. Who knows where they came up with these numbers. Still, like 100 watts under. 226. And I got plenty of voltage, 14.7. What about that efficiency? 75% efficient at 4 ohms for Class D. All right, so 2 ohms is rated 600 watts RMS. We're pretty much certain that we're not going to get 600 watts at 2 ohms. But what can we get? Let's watch those numbers race up. Here they go. Is it going to stop? Yes. 358, 14.6. Makes you wonder, does that 500 watts on the amp actually mean something? Guess we'll find out here in a minute when we do the 1 ohm test. Uncertified, we get 300 and keeps counting, 380 watts at 14.44. Again, well shy of the 600 watt RMS rating. Dynamic burst, send that 40 hertz pulse track into the amp. See how it produces power. And 388, 14.63. Now, what about efficiency at 2 ohms? It's actually better, 81%. Still not great, but not too bad. All right, 1 ohm, here we go. Rated 900 watts. RMS. Let's see what we get. Certified 1% THD. It's counting, it's counting, it's counting. Check that out. 505 watts, 14.56. Now, this is one case where you believe the amplifier and not the manual. That's right. Let's try uncertified up to clipping. I bet we're going to bust that 500 pretty good. Yes, sir. 535 at 14.4. Let's reset the dyno. Try that dynamic burst. See how the amplifier reacts to the pulse tone. Look at that. Busting 600 watts. For $60. You can get this in a cheap sub for under 100 and you're bumping. What about efficiency? 66%, yet dropped pretty hard when we got to the 1 ohm measurement. Now, what about those results? You pretty much just saw all these. Pause this if you want to see it better. Basically, we didn't get anywhere near rated on any of the different tests. We don't know where they came up with these numbers. They must have just came out of thin air somewhere. What about what's inside? Let's check and see what's inside this $60 Class D Amazon amp from a brand nobody's ever heard of. 4 screws on the bottom. Yes, we did break the seal, and all the seals of the world are not happy with us breaking the seal. And here it comes. Wow, HDR content for the win. Very red circuit board. We have some caps and some coils and some resistors and some chips, some transistors, 25 volt 2200 microfarad input filtering, rail cap 63 volt, 1500 microfarad, all the kind of cheap brands as you'd expect. So nothing really surprising here, but let's hook it up to the subwoofers and see how it sounds. So Justin, the DIY audio guy, what do you think about this $60 Amazon amp?
Derek, I'm stunned. I wasn't expecting this thing to do anything anywhere near like this. I was expecting a couple of 100 watts tops at 1 ohm on your dyno. You know that I like to run a dynamic test so we can see exactly how much power this amplifier can put out on a real subwoofer, kind of a real world power test that's going to account for box rise, impedance rise, which you should call it impedance rise. That's the correct name. And for the power factor. So what I got on it was I got 238 watts on my Sundown Audio subwoofer. It was presenting a 4 ohm load, and then that was at 1% THD, and at clipping 300 solid watts of real world power.
Again, check the link in the video description to get it to Justin's video. Make sure you subscribe to his channel for his cool content. And thanks for the collaboration, Justin. Let's get out the FLIR and check out some thermal imaging. Is it getting hot in here? Well, as you'd expect, the choke and the transformer are pretty hot. The caps are kind of warm as well. Nothing overly hot from what I can see. These thermal images are just cool. I mean, that's all there is to it. Just cool to see. As far as the good stuff, it's cheap, $60 at the time of the video. Includes a bass remote, even though it's a cheap bass remote. It does include a bass remote. Variable subsonic filter, team blow fuse. You're going to see what that means later in the video. It does have a compact size, easy to fit in your vehicle. What about things that could be better? It's not 900 watts. Super cheap bass remote. The brand stigma of Leiges audio. Reliability is unknown. What about warranty support after 90 days? Price fluctuation after 2 videos about the amp. Who knows? You may be able to get a Rockford or an Alpine cheaper in future. There you have it, the video, the Leiges Audio 500.1D, which again is probably one of the only amps I've ever seen that says 500 watts on the outside. It really does 500 watts for a cheap amp. Not really sure where they come up with all those other numbers that were in the manual that said RMS, but either way, for $60, the current price of this, for a budget bass head, somebody just wants some extra bass in their vehicle with an inexpensive subwoofer, comes with a bass remote. Some bass remotes cost more than this amp. So, not sure how long it'll last, but hey, it's $60. Till next time, Big D, I'm out of here. Because you guys were going to ask, and you knew, couldn't leave you hanging like that, let's try 0.8 runs here on the amp. Certified first. 524 watts, 0.8, 14.42. Okay, let's reset the dyno here. Try the uncertified test up to clipping. See what we get. It's counting, it's counting. It's like the national debt or the price of gas. 594 watts, 14.28. Now, I did lose the clip of the 0.8 dynamic. I don't know how. 676 watts at 14.49. Let's try dynamic at 0.67, see how that performs. And yes, look at this, 795 watts. Ooh, 800. We did get 800 watts at 0.67, 14.5 volts. And you know I couldn't leave you without giving you the half ohm dynamic burst run for the Leiges Audio 500.1D. Went into protect, came out of protect, went back into protect. 918 watts, but at least it went into protect. Big D getting ready to slide. Here we go, slow motion. Trying to lose my phone. What?